Hello, I'm Dan Rather, and welcome to the CBS Evening News online edition. Just ahead, the kidnapping of a well-known woman aid worker in Iraq. Does this represent a shift in tactics by insurgents? We'll give you a look. Also, thousands on Capitol Hill have gotten flu shots. How that happened is tonight's inside story. And cleaning up the air. It's a big issue for voters. Where the presidential candidates stand in CBS's series, What Does It Mean to You? It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News online edition. In Iraq today, there were public pleas for the release of a kidnapped woman, an aid worker. 2 car bombs wounded 11 U.S. Army soldiers and killed an Iraqi child in Samarra, north of Baghdad. And in the Iraqi capital, CBS's Kimberly Dozier reports another bombing set already frayed nerves further on edge.
At dusk in the capital, a car bomb shattered the peace of the Ramadan evening meal, but apparently only killed the driver. Meanwhile, there's been no word on the fate of Margaret Hassan, seen here in a video released by her kidnappers. The Irish-born aid worker was seized by gunmen as she arrived for work Tuesday. Her Iraqi husband went on Arab television to plead with her captors, saying she'd suffered through decades of war, together with the people she considered her own.
She's given her life, really, to Iraqi people to try and help them.
Dozens of Iraqis protested on her behalf at a hospital Hassan helped rebuild as head of CARE International in Iraq. CARE has suspended its operations, telling Iraqi staff to stay home.
They're not going to be going to work, doing any of this work, which is unfortunate given the tremendous need among the poorest of the poor in Iraq.
Most aid workers left Iraq following the bombings of the United Nations headquarters last year, and later the Red Cross in Baghdad. Intelligence sources say the militants had been plotting to seize a Western woman for some time. The idea to further shock and terrify the foreign community here and send the message that no one is safe. A chilling notion for aid agencies, and one which spells further disaster for Iraqis. Hospitals are now short of supplies, and social services are almost non-existent. Many Iraqis say by attacking the aid community, kidnappers are holding the whole country hostage. Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, Baghdad.
Day after day, public outrage appears to be growing over the shortage of flu vaccine. In Maryland, even people designated as high risk have to enter a lottery for a chance at a shot. But not far from there, others, including those at low risk, have been getting flu shots without lotteries, problems, or apologies. CBS's Bob Orr has investigated and gives you the inside story.
While millions of Americans are still waiting in lines hoping to get flu shots, there is no shortage of vaccine on Capitol Hill. Nearly 2,000 doses have already been given to congressional staffers and members.
I had the flu shot weeks ago as this process began, and I did so at the encouragement of the attending physician.
In early September, the Capitol's doctor, John Eisel, sent a letter to everyone who works in Congress. In light of the numerous interactions which Capitol Hill employees have with people, wrote the doctor, I personally recommend the flu shot. But then the government announced a massive shortage of vaccine and called on people not at risk to skip the shots.
We want to make sure that the flu vaccine goes to those who need it most.
Under government guidelines, those people are 65 and older, children between 6 and 23 months old, pregnant women, and those with chronic illnesses. Most members of Congress do not qualify, and some people who do are irritated.
The same way Congress has good insurance where other people doesn't have good insurance, and it's the same way with the flu shot.
But the Capitol physician believes politicians, who shake a lot of hands, face a unique risk of catching and spreading the disease. Both Senator Kerry and President Bush today said they'll do without. Others haven't decided.
So I'm going to talk to the Senate doctor today and see whether I should get this shot.
The Capitol physician's office is nearly out of vaccine and hopes to get more. The doctor makes no apologies for trying to protect what he considers a high-risk group. Bob Orr, CBS News, the Capitol.
The environment is a hot topic in the presidential campaign, so what are the Kerry and Bush positions on conservation, on protecting the environment? CBS's Wyatt Andrews clears the air on that tonight in the Iowa American election series, What Does It Mean to You?
In a place this peaceful, In a wilderness this beautiful, you'd never suspect the damage beneath the surface.
Just looking at this water, it looks pristine.
That's because there's no life in it. Of 2,800 lakes in the Adirondacks, 1/4 of them are biologically dead.
Environmentalist Brian Houseseal says lakes and forests are dying here in the Adirondacks because hundreds of miles away, coal-fired power plants in the Midwest are spewing pollutants that drift to upstate New York as acid rain.
New York State is geographically disadvantaged.
Some days, Neil Woodworth says you can watch the pollution roll in through the mountain passes.
The air on these mountains can be as unhealthy as air in some of our cities.
Woodworth and Houseseal both manage Adirondack environmental groups. Both agree on the goal to clean up the air and water fast, but they disagree on how to do it. In the presidential campaign, both President Bush and Senator Kerry promised sharp reductions in acid rain. Both say the key is to push industry to burn coal cleaner using high-technology equipment. So the issue is which of the candidates would really get the job done.
I propose to the United States Congress a Clear Skies initiative to reduce sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and mercury by 70%.
The president says he will reduce pollution by allowing power companies to trade pollution credits, essentially selling each other the right to pollute.
I like the president's approach.
Houseseal says under the president's plan, the market will make pollution so expensive, the companies will be forced to clean up.
If they just left the Clean Air Act all alone the way it is today, no change, the air would be cleaner than it is if you passed the Cleaner Skies Act.
John Kerry claims he'll reverse what he calls the Bush-Cheney rollbacks using the courts. Neil Woodworth believes that will force the cleanup.
We feel that if we simply enforce the Clean Air Act as it's currently written and enforced it rigorously, we would not have an acid deposition problem and we would not have a smog problem.
Notice that neither candidate proposes using less coal. They can't. Not when the coal states of West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania could decide the election. In the Adirondacks, Wyatt Andrews for Eye on America.
More stories are just a click away. But don't forget to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Thursday's broadcast, with emotions running so high in the presidential race, we'll take you to a city where folks are fighting a political sign war house to house. For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Rather.